guys, look who it is!
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the podcast. We are here for the second reveal show. However, this one we had the opportunity to look at some cards and give them a little bit of thought prior to opening our mouths.
Not that we did, but we
I mean we didn't. We were just given the opportunity. Like maybe I did it on accident. Subconsciously, I developed some interesting opinions. But we at least have a fancier presentation for you this time around. It's definitely a little nicer, less cropped, awkward screenshots, and more, backgroundless things. I don't know. Hey, you'll see soon enough. So John is live on remote location in Washington, so it might be a little bit of an abbreviated show. We're going to forego the 2 games.
Normal games, yeah.
And we are going to forego the after show this week as well. I'll probably log on and get my my brawl pack or something, but it's not going to be a long full show, and John can't join us for it, so
I cannot.
That's what you were all tuning in for anyways, I'm sure.
Was to see me on the after show.
Absolutely. All right,
sure.
So without any further ado, because we do have a decent number of cards to take a look at, and some of them are super interesting.
Yes.
So, first though, before we get into that, there are 2 clarifications on cards we saw last week. The first, Nexus Champion Sarad, the one I was happy to make the bold statement of it's going to be number 3 in your crafting rotation as a new player. Like you'll go boom, Sylvanas, Nexus Champion Sarad. He inspires to put a spell in your hand, and they confirmed that it is a collectible spell. So the dream cards off of Sarah and things like that will not be eligible to be gotten from that. Kind of something I took for granted, but when I saw the clarification, I go, I can totally see that people would ask that question still. I think it's... Unless you hear otherwise, though, I would just assume that's what's happening with cards like this now.
Yeah, you can get, ETC off of some things, I think. I think you can get ETC off of Unsable Portal.
Well, he's collectible.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's not in the packs.
I think that's incorrect.
He's not in packs, no.
You can definitely go craft him for 60.
You can craft him, yes. You can craft him for sure, but he's not. You can't open him in packs.
Well, he's weird then, and I don't understand
he's
him.
The BlizzCon card from 2 years ago, I think.
Gotcha. All right. Well, the other clarification we have is that Koldara Drake, your hero ability will become usable again if you use your power before playing it. The other thing that will happen is if he dies, your hero power won't exhaust itself. So, again, these are things that I would have assumed to be the case, but it's nice to have the clarifications because these are the kind of things that the ambiguous wording on Hearthstone cards really can get you on.
So he doesn't need to be there to... So if you use your hero power, play him, it will reset your hero power.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's the sort of thing that you kind of assume, but... you don't know until you play it the first time and get completely ranched by it.
Right, and let's say you want to use him to clear away a Dr. Boom. If you use your hero ability and then crash into his face, or crash into the Dr. Boom and trade your guy, your hero ability will be active to use a second time.
Oh, okay, sweet.
So, yeah, kind of both ends of the spectrum. It does a great, it's just resetting the hero ability and allowing you to use it. It's kind of really powerful when you think about those extra things that you can do with it and the different ways you can play, weaving his attack into the hero ability and things like that. But I don't think Koldara Drake is a card you're going to want to ideally be trading often, so you're probably in a rough spot.
Yeah, not if you have any choice.
Yeah. All right, so let's start to get down to the new things here. And I wanted to lead us off with something a little bit exciting, but at the same time... I wanted to save the truly spicy things and the legendaries for the end. So I'm going to start us with the 2 weapons that we've gotten. The first one here is a rogue weapon. It is 4 mana Poisoned Blade. It is a 1/3 weapon, and your hero power gives this weapon +1 attack instead of replacing it. So without even really thinking about it, this card was, or the rogue class, until I saw this card, I didn't realize how poorly positioned the rogue class was to deal with an Inspire-based metagame. A lot of people don't think the metagame's going to slow down at all because of these cards are coming out. They just think the cards are, you know, I've heard, I mean, Raynad hates everything and is just a downer about everything. So,
yeah,
you know, he's saying, like, the metagame's too fast for cards like Nexus Champion Sarad, and he doesn't even think it's going to be that good, which really makes me think I'm onto something with my bold statement. But anyways, yeah, Rogue was really poorly positioned because it only really wants to use the hero ability every other turn, and it gets way less value out of, you know, spamming it or playing it multiple times in a turn. Like, all those cards were just to Rogue. Now they have something here. So if you're a Rogue player and you want to go into this Rogue control style deck, you know, it'll be reminiscent of the way Rogue used to be in the early days of the early beta and things like that, where you just...
The broken days.
Yes, where you just save up this huge Blade Flurry turn, and you know, you just go crazy that way, and you clear the board and kill your opponent simultaneously. This card will definitely allow you to do that, but at the same time, I mean, it just sits there, and the longer you wait to pull the trigger on it, the better chance they're just going to slam Harrison, or, you know, even play Ooze. You know, if that style of Rogue gets too good, Ooze is just really going to take over and become something that's played. So this is a really interesting card. I love that they're putting it out there, because it kind of creates that shifting style of metagame that when the game started out it had. Like, when it was just the basic card pool, the metagame shifted every 2 days. No matter what you did, you couldn't stop it. It was a really good flow to it. And they, you know, they had to come out with new cards for variety, but not for metagame health. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play Rogue. And I don't know if you play much, but I love the class. So
yeah, I love Rogue. Yeah. The one thing that I didn't like about this, the first comment I saw about this was, OMG 6-mana Stormforged Axe OP, and I'm like, that's a pretty good point, actually. It definitely, like you said, if it's a slow metagame, this card seems sweet if you can build it up and get a really big Blade Flurry turn. But at the same time, like you said, Harrison Jones and Acidic Swamp Ooze just completely destroyed this card. So I don't really know what to think about it. It seems like if it's good, it gets countered really easily, and people play those cards, and it's not good anymore. And if it's not good, then it's not good. It's not good because it costs 4 mana and does nothing. Like, it seems like it's a really late game card, and you need, like, if you want it to be broken, you need the other cards that, like, reduce the cost of your hero power and let you do it more than once a turn. And you need this expensive card, and you need them to not to have. It just seems like the list of things that need to happen for this card to be good is way too long. But I could see it being like a one-of in like a Rogue control deck, if that's a thing. Like, it definitely gives you some late game power. But I think in a vacuum, it's not strong enough.
Yeah, it's going to be curious to see how things play out, and like I said, I think it's really going to play into that shifting style of metagame. You know, when this card's good and that style of Rogue deck is good, it's probably going to be really good. And this won't even be limited to right after the set comes out either. This will be forever now that this card exists. And it's really going to kind of always be in that back pocket. You know, do you want to be playing Poison Blade Rogue? And then when you get into that mirror match, you're going to spend the whole time just like terrified of Harrison. Like, you're just going to be sweating, and he's not going to ever play it, and you're going to crush him, or he's going to get so much value that there's just no chance.
Maybe we see the 1-mana pirate. He could get played if something like this, like, if like the strategy is like pump it up a couple times, use the first 2 charges really quick, and then just save the other for the Blade Flurry, like that pirate guy. What is he? Bloodsail Corsair. I mean, he's in the mix, man. He's possibly playable.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, I was thinking you were talking about Deckhand, but
no, Deckhand is always good. Deckhand is going to be played anyway. I'm talking about against, like, especially decks against this.
Right. Oh yeah. You're talking about the one there. It's just remove 1 toughness.
Right, yeah, because it seems like the strategy for this card is play it out. Like, you don't want to use it. Like, you don't want to use it as a Stormforged deck. So maybe you like pump it up to 3, kill a couple guys, and then you save the last charge and just keep pumping it up every turn for the Blade Flurry or whatever. Like, if you need to use it, you use it. And if like the strategy is to just keep it at 1 charge like for a number of turns and then pop it when you need it, then Bloodsail Corsair might be a thing. I don't know. The problem with Bloodsail Corsair is I don't know if it's ever better than just using Acidic Swamp Ooze if you want a cheap way to kill.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but we're seeing more pirates get printed, so you might stumble into a viable pirate deck at some point, and then it just always carries value.
Right, and if there's more cards like this for Rogue, which if there's going to be an Inspire Rogue deck, there's got to be more than this. Like, I don't think this is enough to incentivize you enough to play that style of Rogue deck just for this card, because it just gets countered so easily.
Right. Yeah, I view it as kind of like I do think it's playable, but you have to be playing it, like I've said, at the exact right time. You have to decide to include it and play that deck, and then, almost as soon as you won your first, gotten on the win streak, just switch. It's probably not going to get there. But, curiously thinking about it, and I didn't think about it this way, in tournament play, you can always play this style deck to counter something that's out there. So I think that's where this might have its best opportunity.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Well, as interesting as this card is, we've probably given it a little more time than it's warranted. So we will move on.
Yeah, I think we give it enough time.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent amount.
Possibly playable, possibly broken, possibly garbage, just like every other card.
Speaking of possibly garbage, we have King's Defender. It is a 3-mana, 3/2 warrior weapon with Battlecry. If you have a minion with Taunt, gain +1 durability. I want to point out something about this. This card, and John's just finding out what happened here probably for the first time. So this card got spoiled on a Taiwanese website, and so it was in a foreign language. And as John says, he already knows what happened. Yep. And it's that, in Magic, all rulings are based off of the English text of the card.
Right.
Okay, so however you translate it into this language. So when they saw it in the Asian language first and translated it to the U.S., it did not translate exactly as it was ever going to appear on this card. So people are talking like this got pre-nerfed. Okay, it was bad before. I don't think they nerfed it. This actually got a little worse than the initial release of the card was. So yeah, I thought this card before it was like maybe because all these ways to get spells in my hand, maybe I accidentally build up enough mirror entities. I want to I just go for that gimmick deck. Maybe this had a home in a gimmick warrior taunt deck or something. And then they stole that away from us. And there's just no viability to this thing anymore.
To be clear, what they spoiled it as was it gets +1 durability for each minion with taunt, right? That's what it said, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if you have 3 minions with taunt or 2 minions with taunt, all of a sudden this thing is sticking around for quite a few turns, and you play something like Captain Greenskin or Upgrade, and all of a sudden you've got a powerhouse of a weapon that's going to be around for a long time and represents quite a bit of damage over the course of a number of turns. This is just okay. The 3/3. A 3/3 weapon for 3 is nothing to scoff at. Don't get me wrong. But it's like a Eaglehorn bow that already gets a secret pop, but you'd want to play it in an aggressive deck, I guess. It seems much better in Hunter than it does in Warrior. Maybe not. You need to work a lot. No, you don't need to work a lot. You need to do work and pay an extra mana for this to be better than Fiery Wind Axe.
Yeah. And that's really the key to me, and the only thing that might ever make this playable is if Armorsmith had taunt, and it doesn't. So it's never going to fit in your curve. You're never going to have a turn 2
Ghoul.
I feel like you're just saving that for when it's best against their board. You don't.
I agree.
Unless you're going turn 3 Acolyte, right? That's the card right now that can do it in a curve, but just stay away from this. Dust it. You're fine.
Doesn't seem that good. Yeah, just dust. Dustarino, Cappuccino, please. No copy Pastorino.
What he said. All right, you guys can take a nap now. because this gets a little boring here.
This is, like you said, this is what happens when you pick Alliance cards. I don't even care about Alliance versus Horde, but if this is the garbage that picking the Alliance card gets you,
this is
don't pick Alliance anymore.
This is a neutral card. This was not the vote where they chose.
This wasn't. This was the vote. That was the card. I saw that card on the website.
No, this was the guy against your Tuskar that you wanted.
Right, and that was Alliance versus Horde, right?
No, those are both neutral races that aren't aligned to a faction.
Well, if you pick the one that the Alliance side is usually on, you messed up.
Well,
if you don't pick the Walrus monster, you messed up.
Well, that's I can't argue with whatsoever. But and now I'll have to point out the one where we didn't vote for the Horde and the card's terrible. But we'll get there soon enough. North Sea Kraken is a 9-mana. Yeah, I said it. A 9-mana 9/7 common minion with Battlecry, deal 4 damage. But listen, this is a fine card. You're going to take this in Arena. You know, there's going to be times when the end, you know, towards the end of your picks, your curve's going to be light. But I'm looking at these things with Constructed in mind, and there's just no way, right?
No way it's played in Constructed. Arena, like Fire Elemental, and if you get the dragons, the Dragon Fire Elemental are really, really good in Arena. And this card is like a bigger version of those, so playable.
Yeah.
Probably only want 1, maybe 2 if you have nothing else expensive.
Right.
But yeah, good in Arena, bad in Constructed. Next.
Fine with me. Speaking of times you shouldn't pick the Alliance card over the Horde card, Coliseum Manager is a 3-mana 2/5. It's a rare. Inspire, return this minion to your hand. Oh, it was so good right up until that moment. And even then, it was just kind of like an awkward redistributed spider tank.
Yeah, not even better like overall stats in Spider Tank. It seemed like you need to do a lot of work for the Inspire to actually be a positive. Like, sure, you get to kill some 3/2s or whatever, like that's the best case scenario, or kill their Huffer, bounce it, replay it. That's really, really slow. I'd
rather keep a 2/1 on the board against Hunter.
Sure.
I would rather just keep a 2/1 on the board and
100%.
than do this.
This is way too slow. The tempo is way too bad, and tempo is like they can try to slow down the format, but tempo is not going to be a non-issue. Like, they can't do that. This is the type of card where I think in Blizzard's mind they're like, okay, we're gonna do everything we can to slow down the format. So value, like long-term value cards like this, which this is a long-term value card. You kill all their 3/2s over the course of 500,000 turns. Long-term value cards like this are going to be playable. That's just not going to be the case. Like, even like Raynad is probably over-exaggerating too much, saying that it's all bad and that it's going to be way too fast still. It's probably going to slow down a little bit, but it's not going to slow down this much. No. And even if it did, this card's not that good to Constructed anyway. This card's probably decent in Limited. And that's about it.
Yeah, and you have to be in a situation where, like, even in Limited, you know, you want to be making sure you weave your hero ability into those turns. And, like, Shaman doesn't get enough value from the hero ability to suffer the tempo loss. What's Priest going to do? Heal this guy? It's like brutal in some spots, and in other spots, whatever. In Warrior, in Arena, I don't care about my hero ability. I'm not going to use it that much. I'll use it when I want to for this guy, but
right, like you need to get this guy out early, but then you have to like build the rest of your game plan around him. But like, what if they play a Spider Tank? Then what do you do? Like, he's just like, okay, well, I guess I'm not using my hero ability anymore, and this guy isn't trading, and the or like against 2/3s, like he's really good against 3/2s, but what does he do against 2/3s? Like, he basically like makes it so you can't use your hero ability. Like, if he cost 2 mana, we can start to talk.
Yeah, maybe at that point he would become worth it for the exact same.
He might be broken. He might be broken at 2 mana. Like, you just don't use your hero ability.
Right.
Like, if he was a 2 mana 2/5. You can't use your hero ability, that we would probably be talking about that card a lot, I think.
Yeah, like,
which
doesn't
is exactly
Zoo just play this and then start to tap afterwards?
yeah, it does. So yes, at 2 mana the guy's broken. At 3 mana he's not playable and Constructed, unless for some unknown reason, the format gets really, really, really slow, and 3/2s are very important for some reason.
Yeah, that'll be the key. Like how many Knife Juggler-esque cards are there in the format?
Yeah,
and at the moment, I don't think enough. This card actually is like half the reason I quit a lot of Facebook groups this week. After, like, I had conversations where people are like trying to defend this card and talk about how good it is, and like, I had 3 people tell me it combos with Warsong Commander. John, do you want to handle it, or should I?
I mean, combos as in it's a combination of cards that can be played. Yes, it does. I guess you can play, let's see, 3 mana for the Warsong, 3 mana for this, that's 6. 2 mana for the 2 mana for the hero ability, that's 8. 3 mana for this, that's 11. So yes, if you have all these and the coin, you can do 4 damage.
It's definitely true. Yeah, no, I got really angry. I'm like, listen, I'm like, that is a combo enabler right now. Okay, let's not. I mean, there's no face warrior out there to make the card viable in other scenarios. I go, you can't just claim that every minion that ever comes out with 2 or less mana is playable because Warsong Commander exists. Would you put this in Patron Warrior? No, absolutely not. Okay, thanks. Let's move on.
Not even close.
It was just.
If you have to play it in your Warsong Commander deck where you're playing that, then you're playing Crazed Alchemist to swap its power and toughness, dome them for 5. Then, like, you need to, like, have its cost reduced, and you need to have your hero power cost reduced, and, like, no. The answer is no.
I think John's over there brewing a Cummings deck right now.
Cummings, I can't take credit. He already sent me the full 30.
He's brewing. He's on like version 4.2 at this point of that.
Blizzard sent him a full spoiler, so he's already got the whole thing written. They knew he wasn't going to do anything productive with it, so they sent him the full spoiler.
Well, anyways, we will just move on from that card and those terrible conversations that give me Vietnam flashbacks. We're looking now at Flame Juggler, which is a 2-mana common minion at 2/3 body. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to a random enemy.
Throw a pair and play Mad Bomber. Next.
No, this is strictly better than Mad Bomber. I just want to clarify.
Absolutely not strictly better than Mad Bomber. Are you kidding me? It deals a 33% of the damage that Mad Bomber does.
Strictly better than Mad Bomber. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there.
Throw a pair. Learn the strategy where you have to click very fast on the target you want it to click on. Learn that strategy. Play Mad Bomber. Don't play this garbage. It's not good enough.
The old Blevins Bomber.
The old Blevins Bomber.
This is not as good on turn 2 as Mad Bomber is, because when you're trying to kill your opponent's Leper Gnome, I'd rather take the extra shots and the extra targets, I think.
You're trying to kill, like, when you only have a Mad Bomber, when you don't have anything that can go wrong on your side of the board besides you taking 3 damage to the face, you always want Mad Bomber. If you have a bunch of X1s on your side of the board, yeah, you want this card. Or maybe even another X2. Like, you have to be smart when you play Mad Bomber. This card you can just play whenever, and it's only very marginal. Like, this card can't do anything against, like, an X2, right? Or
no, like, and you won't see this in Constructed. There's no chance of that. So.
And like,
but Arena players will like it, because it's just added value to the vanilla 2-mana bodies that they were picking anyway.
Right. Like, pick this over a River Crocodile, I guess. Like, or like take this over, like take it over.
I guess like it's not clearly better.
It's not clearly better. If you have a bunch of kill commands, then you probably want the River Crocodiles. I guess like the thing is like you always want your like a certain number of 2-mana like vanilla 2-mana guys, and like it's rare that, I guess maybe it's going to be more common now that you're going to have to pick between them, and I guess this guy is probably decently high on the 2-mana neutral minion thing, but no, I don't even know if that's true. They're all about the same. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. This guy's fine.
Yeah, he's just a perfectly acceptable body to fill out your curve in an arena deck.
Sometimes you're going to get he did exactly that 1 point of damage to the exactly right minion, and sometimes he's going to do 1 damage to like a 4/5, and it's not going to matter at all.
Watch Face Hunter play it just for that chance that it smorks them when they're alive.
Maybe.
Stupid hunters. All right, moving on, we have the other card that was released on the Taiwanese website, and the only real difference here with the translation was that the name changed. This is a 4-mana 3/5 minion for priests. It is a common. Yeah, that's Holy Champion is the name. I don't know if I said that. But whenever a character is healed, gain +2 attack. Obviously, that's the minion gaining the attack. And what this kind of does, John, is this opens up a combo style play here from Priest. You know, I think of the plays where I've done it to draw cards with the Northshire Cleric and the Wild Pyromancer, and you play a spell to damage everything, and then you heal everything, deal damage, Circle of Healing #2, damage, you know, heal everything, deal damage. This card would be astronomically huge at that point when you're going through those plays.
And when you use the 1-mana heal yourself for 3 or heal a target for 3 and get the 1/2 guy that does this, he a lot of times enables those crazy turns where you just get a huge guy afterwards. Except this thing is actually quite resilient. I think you might like, if that type of deck pans out, this will definitely be a huge part of it. It's very, very good in Arena. Like, it's almost a Yeti on its own. And Priest is already pretty decent in Arena in terms of its hero ability. Yeah, I like this one. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, this has a chance to see some constructed play, and I think that makes it just cool to talk about in and of itself. It's also, it's a Priest card that proactively helps you end the game. And right now, Priest just, like, plays Injured Blade Master like it's a win condition and says go. You know, it's just, I'm going to play such a long game that these awkward early-ish minions that allow you to gain control of the board initially are what's going to kill you. And, you know, this just allows you kind of an OTK style turn, and Priest is not terrible at kind of, you know, whittling away at some life points early on. It can definitely do that. And at bare minimum, it says whenever a character is healed. It doesn't say when a minion is healed. Priest is going to use its hero ability just about every turn, and this is going to attack as a 5/5, almost 100%.
6-mana 5/5. A 6-mana 5/5 vanilla is already, like, pretty decent for Arena. Obviously not good enough for Constructed at those stats, but the potential definitely pushes it over the edge for Constructed possibility.
Yeah, it's not. I want to be clear. I don't think this is going to make a splash in Constructed, but it has an opportunity. Probably. And if the deck, you know, we haven't seen near enough cards. This is the only Priest card we've seen. There could be more AoE healing style programs, and it's just really interesting to see exactly how this is going to play out and what we're going to be able to do with it. As somebody that I personally think Priest is our best chance of getting a control deck that really slows down the metagame, utilizes the Inspire ability. You know, Priest is one of the better opportunities to do that, and this card could be a role player in that. So,
for sure.
On the surface, 3/5 for 4 is not great, but it's about the combo potential if you're going to see it at all.
Yeah. Next.
Yep, moving on. Clockwork Knight is a 5-mana 5/5 mech. A mech showed up, John. Battlecry. Give a friendly mech +1/+1. I thought about this card, and I'm like, I don't even think Mech Mage would play it. And then I thought a little more about this card, and I said, Mech Mage might play it. It's certainly possible. It's comparable to a lot of the other combat tricks that enter the board and affect your other minions. I want, if it was for me to be sold at being good, it has to be more aggressive. And it's going to be solid if you have a decent number of mechs in Arena. You know, if you have other targets for it. This card's not going to be bad in Arena.
He's going to be fine in Arena. 5/5 for 5 is already pretty good. The problem is with seeing him in Mech Mage is that his ability is really not even that good, right? Like, it's Shattered Sun Cleric. It's worse than Shattered Sun Cleric, which has never once seen any play in Mech Mage.
Well, I mean, it carries the Mech moniker on it.
It is
so
a Mech,
it gets cheaper, and things like that.
It gets slightly cheaper, so, like...
But when I was thinking about it, comparing it to Shattered Sun Cleric, it's on par with it to me. Because you're looking at Shattered Sun Cleric, you get 3 power from the creature, for 3 mana, and in this guy, you know, it's the same ratio at least. Like you're getting 5 power for 5 mana, and maybe there's more powerful effects you can be getting. And I don't see this, you know, I'm not actually thinking this breaks constructed play.
Right, but you know that like when every mana you add makes it so you need to get more and more out of that mana, right? Like 5 mana, you want more than just the same ratio. Like if you get the same ratio out of a card, you just always pick the cheaper one, right? Like you would always play Shattered Sun Cleric if you just get the same ratio. And this guy can pump, and Shattered Sun Cleric can pump your like Goblin Blast Mage if you needed to. Yeah. Like the only reason I would play this guy is if you want a Shattered Sun Cleric effect and you also want a 5/5 for 5. Like I can't imagine ever playing this guy over Lotheb, like even in Mech Mage. I wouldn't play him over like any of the other. Are there any other good 5-drops? I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't even play him over the new legendary. Like I would play the new legendary over this guy in Mech Mage because it's just like the value is better.
Yeah, I think in order to make this guy playable, you have to take the 2 stats that you're giving to something and put them on the front. You know, if it gave +2/+0 to something, it would have a better opportunity to see some impact. It would just be more aggressive and help get them into that Frostbolt fireball range that, you know, that you're really aiming for with the Mech Mage deck. Even then, it would be very questionable because, you know, Direwolf Alpha can do the same thing, split over 2 minions. It only costs 2 mana.
This guy's too fair for constructed, and he's just fair enough to be pretty decent in limited, I think. Though he's still kind of expensive, and you don't always get a lot of mechs. But yeah, no, he's good enough for arena. Probably not getting there in constructed.
He's awkward because you can't look at him and be like, well, that's a terrible card, but it's also really difficult to get to a place where you're trying to put him in anything for constructed. So
yeah.
Moving on, we have a very interesting card, and one I go back and forth on constantly as I think about it. Tournament Medic is a 4-mana 1/8 common. This is a neutral common. Inspire, restore 2 health to your hero. So Warlock spends 2 mana now to just draw a card. They don't even take a damage. It just negates that. Priest heals themselves for 4 or splits the damage. You know, that can be huge to heal me 2 and heal my guy for 2 in matchups like Hunter, where you're fighting for board control but also trying to counter his hero ability with yours and things like that. John, I know you kind of initially, when we first saw it and talked about it, I was bored because the whole grouping of cards was really boring, so I didn't give it a whole ton of thought. But you were saying positive things about this first, so I'll give you a chance to talk about what you think.
He has the same stat distribution as Yeti, so like I guess in that sense he's got the right amount of stuff on him to make it decent. I mean, 1/8 is probably, I mean 0/9 is obviously the worst. I guess 9/0 is obviously the worst. 0/9, 1/8 is pretty bad in terms of the way you can distribute 9 power tough attack health. But you know, you give this guy taunts, and all of a sudden you're not dying anytime soon. Like 1/8 is sizable. You know, you give him any of the ways to give him taunt, very good, coupled with the fact that you restore 2 health. Like he can really prolong your life quite a bit. Now the problem being that in like a handlock deck where you are using the Warlock hero ability where it counters it out, and you are playing the taunters, you kind of actually want to lose the life from the ability a lot of the time. So maybe he doesn't work there, but I could definitely see like some control decks playing him. The problem is that you already have Lady of the Lake or whatever that card's called, Girl of the Pool. I can't remember what it's like. It's just like insert female noun with like body of water, and that's what the card is called. I don't know. So like you already have a lot of 4-drops in that Inspire deck, so maybe this guy is a one of. Or maybe if you need him for he might be a meta specific card, but I think he has the possibility to be played.
So yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't consider that it shares a Shares the slot with the Grill of the Swamp.
Yeah, Grill of the Swamp. Yeah.
But yeah, I really like this. It's not something that every deck can pick up and play. Like John said, Handlock's not going to want to give up Molten Giant. Part of the reason Molten Giant's so good is you go from I'm losing to just infinite guys. But the metagame's really fast. Like they said, how can you make it to the late game to get the value off of Sarad and all your Inspire abilities? Hey, how about this guy? This is a really good one. I could see Priest playing this, who already has some significant heals. I could see a Druid, maybe control late game style, want to play this. Yeah. There's some changes to some hero abilities, and there's different. You have to think about some classes differently because of a card we're going to talk about right at the end. As well. So, really curious to see how this guy fits in and plays out. And I'm not sold that he's even playable. Like, we could just be reading him completely wrong. But he's got a shot. Yeah, there's if Face Hunter just becomes the thing to play because everybody's playing these slow, awkward, Inspire decks, I'll just put this in my slow, awkward, Inspire deck as a 2-of and crush you, I feel like.
Hunter's never killing this card unless it uses Hunter's Mark. And if you give it Taunt, you're just soaking up so much.
Yeah, and the Hunters that are going to be playing Hunter's Mark are the lock and load ones, and those are the ones that are going to let you get into the late game no problem anyways.
Right.
Because that's where their card draw engine really takes off. So
right.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see exactly what goes on here, but this one has a chance, and we'll see. I don't know, maybe like Ancient Watcher Priest comes out, so that way you're playing taunts and this guy, and yeah, we'll have to see.
Definitely a shot.
Moving on, we finally have a Druid card here. Druid's a class that's been boring me since I started playing. I was very interested in it right away, and then I said, okay. So the game ends completely randomly and out of nowhere when somebody assembles 9 mana and 2 cards, and I fall asleep. Even as the apex of the game's excitement is going on, I'm as bored as I've ever been. So I'm really looking for new ways to play Druid, and with every set and every time they release cards. I have high hopes that there's going to be a cool, unique Druid legendary, maybe like a very decidedly mid-range legendary for Druid would be really cool. But for now, we have Savage Combatant.
Why isn't this guy a 4/5? Just make him better. He's not that good. Just make him a little bit better, please.
What he is he's a 4-mana 5/4 that inspires to give your hero +2 attack this turn. He is a beast, however, so you do carry some. These are those role-playing filler beasts that we talked about you needing in order to make the Druid of the Fang playable. We're getting that much closer to the Druid Beast hybrid deck. All they need is a card that really care. They need a couple cards that really care about Druids having beasts, and there's enough playable beasts in Druid that you can play to make it good. It needs the Druid of the Fang. A 7-mana or a 5-mana 7/7 is good. They need a spell or two that gives you something good for having a beast, and we're there. Yeah, it's just worth noting we're not there yet. We still do still need some things, but we're gonna keep bringing it up every time we see a Druid Beast come out. How does this fit into that deck? What's the beast curve starting to look like in Druid? And right now, this takes you. I can think of a 2-mana beast. Now a 4-mana beast and a 5-mana beast.
We have 3 mana.
What's 3?
The 2/5/5/2.
Oh, that's the one I put at 2, so I don't have a 2-mana beast.
2-mana beast is the power, the one that either makes a 3/2 or gives all your minions +1/+1.
That's a mech.
That's a beast.
Anodized Robocub?
No, not that. The spell that either gives you a 3/2.
Oh, okay, yes, I got you. Power of the Wild.
Yes, okay. That is a beast.
Makes total sense now. So
and Lucids brings up a point that Haunted Creeper is a beast.
Yeah, so you just dip into the neutral pool to pull that off too.
For sure.
And it's not going to be as relevant, but I guess you can throw Owl into that conversation as well.
True.
Yeah, so it's funny when we had our guest on, and it was Ruben Bressler, and we were talking about some things they might do, and he expressed an interest at making Savagery a better card. How can they do that? And this is a great way to do it, because if you can use your hero ability twice a turn, from another card. So now you've inspired twice. Already just using your hero ability now with this card out gives you 3 attack. If you do it twice, it would give you 6 attack, and then Savagery is a 1 mana 6 damage spell. So
yeah, 6 damage to a minion spell.
Yeah, I can't really think it's actually going to be something that sees play. It's going to have to wait for that beast synergy, I think, for this one to see play. But he's an interesting card, and like you said, if he was just a 4/5,
he's a 4/5. We start talking about him.
Yeah, I could think about wanting to just play him because he might just be a slightly more efficient body for what Druid's trying to accomplish than Piloted Shredder. It would have been possible.
It's possible, yeah.
It's not 5/4 because of how it just loses the Shredder.
Shredder just completely crushes it. It's like Yeti, Chillwind Yeti, the original OG neutral, neutral card from the base set, has seen play in Constructed, and it was real, and it was tournament constructed play. That kind of died down once Mech Yeti came out because almost every deck that wanted it just played the Mech version instead. If this guy was a 5 mana 4/5, it's possible that we see him in Constructed because the ability to, even on 6, play a Yeti, hero power, kill an X3, kill the first half of their Shredder is very good. Kill any one of their X3, any of their X3s with your hero ability is really good. And that's, not to mention the fact that we might get Savagery playable. Maybe. Who knows? You know what Savagery used to do?
What's that?
It was 1 mana deal. It was 1 mana Bonfire of the Damned for your hero's attack. Deals it to every
Blade Flurry
opponent. It was Blade Flurry for your hero's attack, except it didn't destroy your weapon because you didn't have one.
Well, it was aptly named at one point, and now
it was
silly.
Yeah, now it's just really bad. But
it's so broken.
Yeah.
I guess when you are a company that's never designed cards for a card game before, that's an easy mistake to make, I guess. But
True.
They clearly learned. I never saw it that way, so it didn't come close to making it out.
That was like alpha. That was alpha. I didn't even see it. It wasn't even there when I started playing.
Gotcha. Well, anyways, we will move on, talk about the next one here. We still have a few more to go. We have Silverhand Regent. It is a 3 mana 3/3 neutral common. Inspire, summon a 1/1 Silverhand Recruit. A little awkward that now any class can summon 1/1 Silverhand Recruits, but nonetheless, that doesn't take away from the value of the card. And
yeah,
listen, I really like these low-cost Inspire cards that actually have a significant effect. Listen,
yeah, this guy's real good.
He's so bad against Swipe, it's not even funny. But there's a lot of minions that are bad against Swipe, and
there's a lot of things and a lot of players that are bad against Swipe. A lot of games that are bad against Swipe. One of them is Hearthstone.
Right. And, this guy has a real opportunity, but he's also, really hard to talk about because there's no, home for him. You know what I mean? There's nothing that, needs to clog the board, but there's a lot of decks out there that might just play 1 or 2 of these because it's solid. Control Warrior wants to just armor up all the time. Would it enjoy having a threat that snowballed a little bit and gained some power on the board, allowed you to make some trades, save up your things? I don't know, it very well might. It's just such a excitingly average, boring card that I don't know how to analyze it, and I don't know where it's going to fit, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that like you said, that's a problem. My initial gut reaction is that Zoo might want this, but are you playing this over Imp Gang Boss? I don't know. And if you are playing this and Imp Gang Boss, all of a sudden you have a lot of 3s in your deck. So who knows? I don't know. It might be we might just need to see that first wave of just brand new, completely wipe the board of old decks. We need a brand spanking new deck, and this guy might be a front runner in it.
Yeah, he's not overpowered, but at the same time he can take a game over in the right matchup, just on his own.
Yep.
So
yep.
really curious to see where he finds a home, and I don't have anything else to say about him other than like he's solid. He's going to be great in arena, phenomenal in arena.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
constructed, he's just going to be okay more often than not. And I don't know. It's just another card that like makes Knife Juggler better too.
That's all I have to say about that.
All right, so now we're into some of the more interesting cards, and this is a 2-mana 2/3 Garrison Commander. It's an epic. You can use your hero power twice on your turn. This is a neutral minion, so it's not a matter of I don't know what Blevins is doing, so we'll just continue to ignore him.
He's getting multiple thumbs up from me.
It's not a matter of him needing to have, you know, a specific class in order to spam hero abilities. This gives, you know, Shaman the ability to play 2 totems a turn. This gives Druid the ability to attack with a 2-power weapon. All right, it's bad in Rogue, I get it, but
might be bad in Rogue. There could be more cards that make it even better.
It's true.
Rogue might like get nothing like out of the hero power inherently, but it might get busted cards that make its hero power good with Inspire.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be like a way to balance it, maybe. I don't know. It's either 0 or a million. Like there's no like middle ground.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like there's a really good chance that they just say, well, here's the most efficient creature this game's ever seen if you combo. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And just give Rogue something busted to just want to play, and it's just like a, you know, a 6/6 for 3 or something like that, and you're just like, haha.
You mean Edwin Van Reed?
Edwin Van Reed. You have to work too much for him, though. I'm talking about just like if you coin him out on turn 2, he's a 6/6.
Coin and play something else, and you have a 6/6.
Yeah, that's too much work. I'm talking about just like, I don't know. And maybe he's like, I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's too much speculation for things that probably just aren't going to happen. And the class is probably just going to go to the bottom of the heap after the set. That's at least my prediction until they show me something that changes my mind. But this card will be really good. I want to put this in Control Warrior. I want to put this in every Shaman deck that's not hyper aggressive. I just really like this guy and what he does to help placate the Inspire mechanic, to help make all the other cards I've been excited about so far even better. You know what I mean? Like the things that have made me happy about this set, this just makes all of them that much better, even if he's not phenomenal on his own.
Yep, he makes the Inspire deck possible for all the decks and not just Mage.
Yeah.
Which is good.
So we'll have to wait and see, but he's something I think I really hope I open 2 of as I open my absurd number of packs. That
I open 2 golden
on the day. Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So seek.
But yeah, so this is a card everybody's going to want to craft or get in some way, because he's just going to fit into everything. So, except Rogue. Uh-oh, indeed. Wilfred Fizzlebang not only probably has the best name.
Yep.
Wilfred Fizzlereed.
Hmm.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
It would be Wilfried Fizzleblev. There we go.
Oh, Wilfried Fizzleblev. Now we have one card. We just take the pictures off the front and put one of them in there. That's great.
Yeah, you're him, and I'm the card that you draw off the hero power.
Well, this guy is this is a Warlock Legendary. It is a 6-mana 4/4. Cards you draw from your hero power cost 0. So when I pick up Twisting Nether, I can just slam it right away.
Correct.
When I pick up Lord Jiraxis, I can just slam it right away.
Also correct.
That's insane.
If it's turn 10, you can also use Infernal.
Oh my goodness. If I have the other guy out, I can just, the guy we just talked about, that makes me able to use my hero ability twice, I can just use this again and get another free spell.
Yeah, insane. Remember the arena brawl or the tavern brawl where you got to be Nefarian and you drew a spell and it caused 0. Remember how good that felt? Now pretend that the spells, instead of being random, are cards that you put in your deck,
Right.
knowing that this card is in the deck.
Like, oh man, I really need an out. I guess I'll play this, hit my hero ability, and like get Siphon Soul and wreck your face.
Yeah.
Just seems like, nuts. He's a card that, you know, all minions are like this, and I get that. But when we say this about a minion, it's because it's way more so than normal. This guy gets way more valuable the longer he lives. If you ever untap with him and start your turn with this guy in play, it's going to be a rough go for your opponent. Now, is he overpowered? No, I don't think so. He's probably a 4/4. He's very easy to kill. His stat distribution is terrible. The effect, though, is so powerful that he's an 8-drop, too. He's not a 6-drop. You're never casting this guy and saying go. But he just joins the list of Warlock legendaries. Like now there's 2, so I say joins the list, but starts the list, I guess, of cards that just makes you wish you could like somehow get a Master of Disguise and just taunt him. Or stealth him forever, I should say, not taunt him. You just want to stealth this guy and then never attack with it. It would be the greatest day ever.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's insane. Yeah, the never-ending quest for stealth cards in Warlock will continue. But
it will, in fact, continue, yes.
You know, there's plenty of times your opponent might even give you a spare part to give this guy stealth. I've done that with Mal'Ganis. That's definitely been the case. And in solo player mode in one of the adventures, I Master of Disguised a Mal'Ganis. That was a very good feeling. So I pulled that off.
Like when I first saw this guy, I'm like, oh, he's probably just a worse version of Emperor Thaurissan. The problem is that like Emperor Thaurissan, very good. Like we've talked at great length about Emperor Thaurissan. There's times when you top deck Emperor Thaurissan, or you only have like you don't really have a good way to abuse the mana advantage you get from Emperor Thaurissan, and then Emperor Thaurissan's just like, he's only all right. Don't get me wrong, Emperor Thaurissan has the ability to be completely broken, and we've learned this for the past such month, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to sell you on Emperor Thaurissan, everyone knows. This guy's just always broken no matter what. You just get the cards for free. If you have no cards in hand, he's great. If you have a bunch of cards in hand, he's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the early game, like, he's obviously not as good on turn 6, but you're not playing this guy on turn 6. Like you said, he's an 8-drop. Yeah. And, you know, you top deck this guy at the end of the game. Hello, insane. Insane.
I think my favorite part about this conversation of, like, comparing him to Thaurissan and you know, they're not cannibalizing each other's spot. They work so well together. It's out of this world. On turn 8, you can just, like, with 4 or 5 cards in hand, you can pick up Thaurissan and then play it. That's craziness in and of itself. But now think about this. On turn 6, you're never going to just jam this guy on turn 6, right? But on turn 6, you play Thaurissan, your opponent goes, have to kill it, must kill it, no matter what I do, he's dead. Okay, great. So now this guy was in your hand, so he costs 5. The next turn, this guy's active. You're going straight into your next OP value play where you're just like, oh, okay, well, you had to spend all the removal in your hand to kill my Thaurissan. Okay. So Wilfred Fizzlebang now just comes right the next turn. This guy's going to be super, super good. And everybody that wants to play Warlock or Handlock or whatever the next breed of Warlock that comes out of all these Inspire mechanics, and the last card we're going to talk about changes Warlock a good little bit too. You know, he's going to be a major role player, and he's really exciting. He's going to lead to some crazy plays, really swingy plays. Where you play him and just immediately top deck the perfect answer, win the game, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm excited to see him get out there. Warlock's it's one of the better classes right now, but this doesn't make it doesn't make the deck much better. It just like makes the deck a little better and way more fun to me. So
yeah, I mean this is like definitely the most fun card we've seen, right? Probably.
It's going to be close with the last one, and I want to hype it because it's such a unique, cool thing they're doing, and I'm really into it. But today, John, we got a new pair of legs, and that's short for legendaries. We got a pair of legendaries.
I see a pair of something on this card.
Easy. So we got 2 spider tanks, and the first spider tank we're going to talk about is Adis Darkbane. It's a 3-mana 3/4 legendary, neutral minion. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, deal 3 damage to a random enemy.
That's a good spider tank.
I love what they're doing here. Like, I love these low-cost legendaries that aren't crazy on stat, but I don't know, maybe it's just because I was already thinking Priest before I saw these 2 cards, but what Priest is going to be able to do with these cards to me is going to be out of this world, and I'm excited to see it happen. This is going to be great for surviving against those aggressive decks. You know, they are going to have to kill this. This isn't something they can let run wild. So even if you slam it on turn 3 and then they huffer it, like, you just gained so much life, like, and so much tempo, and that's exactly what you want to be doing, to push yourself into the late game with a deck like Priest, where, you know, you're going against an aggressive style deck. This is how you get into the 10 mana phase of the game. And that's where you're going to excel, and that's where you're going to win. So a really interesting card, and we might as well just talk about them together. Do you want to talk about them separate?
Yeah, we can talk about them together. That's
okay.
Fine.
We'll look at the second one now, and that's Fiola Lightbane, 3 mana, 3/4, neutral legendary minion. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, gain Divine Shield. This one might have been leaked very early, and like people just assumed it was false. I don't know. I have to go back and look at what that was.
The card that we saw, that fake card that we saw, was different. It was a 6/7 for 6 that was like this, except it was at the beginning of your turn, gain Divine Shield.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say it was a similar-esque effect. But yeah, John, I'll let you kind of talk about these because I know you're almost as excited as I am, if not as excited.
Yeah,
so.
The other one, the 3 damage one, seems absolutely insane. Just like, because it deals damage. Yeah, it can deal damage to their face. Like, even if there's nothing in play, you just load it up and it deals 3 damage per target. Like, that's insane. Like you said, Priest has probably, it's got Power Word Shield. It's got, I mean, it even has the double toughness, the make your toughness attack. Like, you could play that combo deck. Like, these cards might enable that combo deck to be like somewhat real. Like, who knows? A lot of cool stuff. And like you said, I think that the low cost, pretty decent stat minion legendaries are kind of cool. You know, it's cool to see the 9 mana huge do a really unique effect legendary. Like, that's cool, but like the competitive Magic player in us wants to see the like Noble Hierarch cards, the Snapcaster Mage cards, the like really. I guess actually both of those cards aren't mythic, but you know what I'm saying. Like the really low cost, really high powered cards that like.
They might not have been mythic, but they were legendary when you were.
They were
legendary. Yes.
Right. Like these cards are really sweet. This guy specifically, I guess, like this guy is better with the Paladin pumps. Like the +3 attack with this guy is insane. Like a 6/4
so that
Divine Shield.
That aggro pally might love this card.
Yeah, I mean the other one is probably even better, right? Like it deals 3 damage. Like the one thing you don't want to do in the aggro pally deck is have to attack their face, so you just let your 3 damage randomly kill their guys instead. Like I think both of them, depending, like who knows? And if Banana Quest ever comes back, then these guys.
Oh, these guys are bananas.
They should have saved bananas for these guys. But yeah, overall, really good spider tanks. The only thing that's sad is rip spider tank. Why would you ever play spider tank over these? Like even in Mech.
Yeah, even in Mech, it's going to be difficult.
You have enough spare parts to make these guys insane. Oh, also these guys are insane with spare parts.
Oh goodness, yes.
I didn't even think about that until right now.
Oh,
yeah,
my goodness.
Busted. Yeah, these guys, 2 thumbs up for each of them.
Yeah, they're mechs. They're like we don't care about the word mech on the spider tank ever again.
Divine Shield and 3 damage are both better than mech by a wide margin.
Yeah, probably just not close. Even
I already didn't want to play spider tank in the mech decks. These guys just give me even more reason not to play spider tank.
For sure. Wow, yeah, that's crazy. All right, guys, we got there. Let's talk about the coolest card they've released yet.
Spicy. Yeah, definitely the coolest card.
Yes, Justice
Probably
Our
the
True
most
Heart.
discussion I've had with people with this card, though.
Yeah, because it like launches all these sub-discussions, and maybe we'll have to break them up a little bit and talk about the well, let's just look at it. So, Justice Our True Heart is a 6 mana 6/3 with a battle cry to replace your starting hero power with a better one. Yeah, that's right. It's
Which is already
changing
cool.
your hero power. We were talking about like getting new hero powers with the skins, and they're just like, no, you can just play this guy and get it. So
You get a better one. Yeah.
Priest for 2 mana would heal 4.
Insane.
Rogue gets a 2/2 weapon instead of a 1/2 weapon.
Pretty alright, I guess.
Shaman, summon a totem of your choice.
This is the one that I have had the most debate with people, and I think they need to come out with a clarification for these ones too. For this one too. So if I already have a taunt minion, a taunt totem out, can I choose another taunt totem?
I don't think so, personally.
We wouldn't think so, but they didn't say.
But
so
right,
who knows?
we don't know. Yes, it is very.
If you can just spam taunt totem every time, or spam spell power totem every time, or like whichever one you want. Like if you have 3 healing totems out, it's insane. Like
Yeah.
you have 3 of almost any of them out, it's insane. Or you can just have old paladin hero power, which actually, now that they're totems, might be better than having them be Silverhand Knights with the other totem cards we've seen so far.
Yeah, definitely true. Soul Tap here is just 2 mana, draw a card.
Oh, I wonder if that's good.
Warlock.
I wonder if just drawing a card for free is good or not.
Yeah,
Who
Warlock
knows?
no longer loses 2 life. Tank up, gain 4 armor, warriors.
Yeah. Didn't ever want to end the game anyway, so
Yeah.
might as well let them have twice as much armor.
That's fine. Yeah, now you just spend 3 mana to shield slam anything with 4 toughness. Like,
Oh
whatever.
my god,
That's
so stupid.
fine. The Silver Hand, Paladins now make 2 1/1 recruits.
Also insane.
Fire Blast rank 2, the laziest name of them all. Deal 2 damage. It costs 1 mana, and you do it as many times as you want over the course of a turn, if you've set up your board correctly.
I wish it was deal 1 damage, then deal 1 damage.
Druids gain 2 armor and 2 attack. So doubles their hero ability. So you double the Druid hero ability, you double the Mage, you double the Paladin, you double the Warrior.
Double the Priest.
Double the Priest, and pseudo-double the Rogue.
Yeah. You only 1.5 the Hunter.
Yeah, hunters, calm down, hunters. Okay, you guys are scumbags. You only get to deal 3 damage. Okay, you're not dealing 4 damage for 2 mana.
Oh my god.
Calm down. I don't even like. They should have just not done it for hunters.
Shot.
It should. Justice R. Trueheart sounds like somebody that would hate hunters so much that he would just be like, "Screw you! You don't get to play me. I'm a neutral legendary that you can't put in a hunter deck. I have that special tech."
That would be cool.
That would be the funniest thing I'd ever seen. He's clearly all about justice. So
Yeah. So screwing over the Hunters would definitely be just, right?
yeah, but there is no justice.
Wait,
in Hearthstone.
getting the quick shot every turn sounds
Right.
insane and awesome, and I love it.
Right, and I love that the hunters were legit complaining about this. It's like, no, you need to stop.
Are you kidding me?
Right, you like it still
Not playing
is so much
anyway.
better. But
You're not
yeah,
playing this base Hunter anyway, and if you're playing it in mid-range Hunter, it's just that much better. It goes from a 15-turn clock to a 10-turn clock. You took 5 turns off of your clock from them at 30. Like, are you kidding me?
yeah. So all around, you have to think to yourself, like, why wouldn't you want to play this minion that would just make your hero ability better than your opponent's forever? Like, if you're in the warrior or the priest versus hunter matchup, the classic matchup I'm envisioning defining how this new meta comes out, like, how do these decks that we build with Inspire hold up against Face Hunter? You know, why wouldn't you want to gain 4 armor or restore 4 health? You will always beat the hunter no matter what you do. And it's really interesting because, like, the minion itself is so bad, John.
Yeah. The minion is really bad. And like you're saying, against the Hunter matchup, like, a lot of times it's just too slow. Like, have you ever played against Hunter with like Grim Patron Warrior and just not draw your Armor Smith? Like, you're not going to win that game. And this guy is not going to help. Like, an 8-drop, gain 4 armor, play a random, like, janky costed dude, that's not going to help that matchup at all. Like, yes, it will help the match where, like, you need to go in the long game, I guess, but you're probably winning that game anyway because you're going to get to your Armor Smiths and kill all their guys. This guy's not helping that matchup. Honestly, I don't think he's helping the Warlock, or at least the Handlock deck. He's not helping the Handlock deck. Like a lot of times those late game matchups with a hand like you're going to fatigue, and you need to kill them before you fatigue yourself. So Soul Tap's probably not going to help. Totemic Slam, I'm still not convinced one way or the other about it.
I'm all in.
Silver. I mean,
that's so
sweet.
overpowered. I've been trying to force Shaman through for so long, and just make it so that I can play the deck I want to play. It's like in World of Warcraft. There's one class I've always wanted to play, and that's my Gnome Warlock. That's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. Even before Gnomes came out, I've always been wanted to play Warlock. I always play the Necromancer evil style of character in my games like that. And the problem I have is, as a giant of a human being, I like to flatter myself and say that in order to be truly evil, you have to be very, very short. And so I've always just wanted the gnome. Like, that was the first character I ever played. When I started, I went to my friend's server. He was playing Alliance, and I was a gnome warlock. I loved it. The guy, he was tiny, evil looking. Like, everything about him was super cool to me. And then I just wanted to be Horde so much more that it wasn't worth it. And then I got gnomes, and goblins came out. I was able to do it. And I was just, my guild, when you run a guild, you play what the guild needs.
Yeah.
So when it needs a main tank, you play a warrior. When it needs a healer, you play a healer. And you never get to DPS. So I never got to do it. And now I come back, and we have so many warlocks, it just makes no sense. There would barely be room for me to even join the raid. So, I forget where I was going with this. So I've been trying to force Shaman through and play that a bunch. And just the ability to be like, no, I get Taunt Totem every turn.
Yeah,
I don't care. I get it. I'm not spamming my totems early in the game to make sure I have every kind of totem out, so just make it that much more likely that I get the Taunt Totem when I want it.
Right.
I just pick it. When I'm going to Lightning Storm, and I just, man, it'll be so good if I get that totem, right? I just pick it.
Yeah, those times, there are a lot of times where I'm like, if this guy rolls Spell Power, I just lose. If this guy rolls Taunt, I'm going to lose. Like, if he rolls Taunt 3 times in a row, I can't win. Right. Like, now you just get to do it every time.
Right, and if I'm wrong, and you just get to stack Taunt Totems, what? That's not okay. I'll just stack Spell Power Totems with my spells in my hand. Like,
especially if you get to use your hero ability more than once a turn.
Oh my goodness! Like, the potential, if the
it's a mirror image every turn.
If the metagame slows down enough, Shaman control could be the control. It really, really could be. Cards like Neptulon, he's so powerful. It's unreal. Murlocs all suck. They're terrible. It's not Neptulon that's the problem with that deck, though. It's just the fact that your overload spells are killing you throughout the entire course of the game. And that's what needs to be rectified, and we'll see if they were able to do it. Me and John both think that the aggressive Shaman deck will be around. I mean, a 2-mana 3/4, good night. That's for me.
Yep.
But especially the ability to just proc a free one off your 3-drop is out of this world, too. But, you know, it'll be curious to see if we get enough Shaman cards, or when we get enough Shaman cards. And I think that Justice, our True Heart, will go straight into any Shaman control deck that ever becomes viable. And it's just going to be really strong. So if not now, don't forget how stupid it is to pick your totem. That's insanity.
And this will be exactly where we reference in the recap of how wrong we were in a month when all the cards are out.
Yeah, this will be my eating crow of just like, I guess Shaman controls the best deck in the format right now. It doesn't want True Heart. It's actively bad for it for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Oh wow.
I don't know why that.
We'll look back and laugh.
It'll be fun. If we don't say these silly things and call these things broken, then it would just be the most boring show ever.
And we won't have a show. We won't have the show right after the spoiler season like we did last time, where we go over everything we said.
And you can't expect me and John to give up on these shows writing themselves faster than we have to. We will cling to that raft of the new content being handed to us in droves. That is the end of the new card discussion, though, John. How did you feel about the number of cards we saw this week?
Pretty good. Pretty decent. I mean, it's coming out in, 2 weeks? If they keep it up.
Theoretically.
Yeah. I've been all right with it. I mean, obviously I always want more, but at the same time, I don't want I kind of want to have a little bit of exploring to do when the set actually comes out, like to look at the cards for myself. I kind of like that. And if they release everything, then it's like, meh.
So I'm mildly upset because the vote for the two legends that we saw today, like,
yeah,
those were, from my understanding, supposed to be yesterday's cards.
Yeah, they definitely were.
And they extended it, like they waited until, it seemed like they were just waiting until midnight to give us the chance to hit the 100% tweet goal to see them both. And I thought that was super cool. I'm like, good on you, Blizzard. I'd rather wait a couple hours, and you know what I mean, than have you just like at 5 o'clock just decide it's over. You know what I mean? Like, give us the full day. But then they like didn't throw them out at midnight or when we hit 100%, and they like saved it for randomly like 4 o'clock today. And so now it's like we have this other vote that I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow now. If it happens tomorrow, I'm definitely going to feel like we got a little cheated. And it's not so much that it actually matters, because like we did get to see two legends over the course of 2 days, but the votes worked out to like release the set on, what was it, the 11th? Yes. So my guess was that the set was going to get released on the 11th. I think there's a release for a different game on the 4th. So they'll be busy doing that, and then the 11th or the 18th. And now I'm starting to lean towards the 18th. And maybe that's what they're doing. You know, they're using these to prolong the release a little bit, and that's why we're slowing down. So, so just something to think about. You know, they had a lot of bugs in their game when they were doing the show matches and the reveal.
Right.
That's true. And it was mostly spectator mode. You know, from the player's perspective, everything seemed to be going okay.
At least from what we could tell.
Right, you know, they just left they stopped spectating and rejoined the game, and everything seemed to be fine. So it'll be curious to see exactly when we see this, and I'm still currently thinking the 11th. I'm just guessing they're going to be like, here's the rest of your set on like the 8th, and then you're going to have a couple days to think about it and go.
Yeah, probably.
But every time these don't come out every day, my argument for the 11th becomes significantly weaker, because I based it so much on like, oh, well, there's 19 days between now and the 11th, and this was last week, obviously, and there's like 19 cards to show, and I don't even know that 19 is the right number. So don't quote me on that. But at the time, it lined up perfectly, where if they revealed one card a day by vote, they would end on the 10th, and then the 11th, the set would come out. So it seemed perfect, and it's already that trend is broken, and it's not working out that way. So I would have liked to have seen a few more cards, but overall, you know, it's mostly that we saw so many arena cards at the beginning of the week. I'm sated now by those double legendaries that I think are really cool and interesting.
The Holy Spider tanks are pretty sweet.
Right. So we'll have to see. But right now, I'm excited for just the different ways this game is changing. You know, how busted would an arena game be if you had Justice Our Trueheart?
Pretty busted, regardless of class.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single class where it changes how overpowered that would be. So I'm very excited to see how all these cards play out, and they all seem so synergistic with each other so far. Or in the case of Coliseum Manager, just completely anti-synergistic with everything else that's going on. Despite carrying the new keyword, like that's the worst thing about the card. But anyways, let's move on real quick and talk briefly about the brawl you got this week. So if you're like John and you refuse to update your client, you can go play the first ever brawl they did, the Rag versus Neff. Something happened where people saw that for a little while, but this is the brawl you'll see.
I still see it.
Yeah, this is what you'll be playing this week if you haven't already gone in and played the Black Rock Mountain brawl over again. And basically, if you remember, where your whole deck was web spinners, except for the couple class cards that you chose from the class that you chose that are randomly inserted into your deck. That's exactly what we have here. Sorry,
but it's unstable portals.
Yes.
So like another lazy one. Like people wanted this, I guess. Though like the unstable portal thing is pretty fun, but like the class cards make it so much worse. So I'm not in favor of this. I am not happy about it. It's stupid. Stupid. Too many portals should be too many stupid, lazy ideas.
The only thing it'll be is how I do my quests until they shut it off.
Yeah, that's literally all I use these for. Like, I played the last one. I didn't even like the last one at all. I played it. I had like 15 wins just because I wanted to grind out priest games, and it was more fun than playing ladder with priests.
Yeah, and it also just like I think I was doing it with like mage quests and things like that. And mage, I thought I had it solved with priest, and I'm pretty sure priest was the definite way to go. But mage was surprising me at how good it was. There was times it would just come out of nowhere. I mean, you get to play pyroblast, and if they play like, you know, awkwardly huge minion right away, you're just like, oh, I'll pyroblast it. So you had your own answers. You know, it didn't have to be mind control. But
true.
Anyways, yeah, I'm trying to remember. I had one crazy, ridiculous play go on, but it doesn't matter. Brawl was bad. We won't talk about it.
Brawl's bad. Hopefully they'll make a good one soon. They'll probably make some good ones with the tourney coming out.
Yeah. Q&A time, guys. Get your questions in quick if you've got them.
Yes, get them quick because I have to leave to go see a movie, like, basically now. But if you get any questions in real quick, I'll answer them.
Well, we did have one, and that was Sevens asked, will, I'm presuming Handlock, what will Warlock run, Wilfred or Trueheart?
Probably not Trueheart. Maybe Trueheart. Definitely Wilfred. Definitely Wilfred.
Yeah, Wilfred is guaranteed. Trueheart is a maybe.
Is a maybe. The thing is, you can run the 1/8 and have it be the same thing as the Trueheart, right? Like, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go ahead and say probably no on Trueheart. Gridlock said, Blevins, you're never in favor of any brawl. That's not true. I liked the one where... What?
That's me. I hate every brawl.
Yeah, Jim hates every brawl.
Ooh.
I like the one where whenever you cast a spell, you get a random minion. That one was really fun. And actually, having seen all the other ones, I really like the Ragnaros versus Nefarian one now. Like, I take back everything bad I said about it. Give me that one back. And actually, they did because I can still play it. But yeah, it's
Yeah, so what John's doing to still be able to play it, and the problem he's going to run into is finding opponents that have it.
Yeah.
He's declining to update his client on his mobile device.
iPad lets me play the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elbow. We whine about Brawl because we like competitive games where they incentivize you to play instead of just silly Candyland nonsense. That's basically what we don't like.
Or just
that's the technical definition of why we don't like them. Silly Candyland nonsense.
Yes, I play video games to be good at them and be better than other people and beat them. And when they purposefully take skill away and diminish the fact that I'm better than the average player and make that less important to the outcome of the game, I'm going to hate that every time in every game.
Yes.
Hearthstone attracts the crowd that enjoys that, so that's why this mode is there. We're a competitive podcast. We're making you guys good.
Or maybe.
All right, guys. Well, John's got to get going, and we don't have any other questions come in, so John's just pretty much going to take off. But any parting words before you go, buddy?
If you guys have any questions that you think of later, feel free to email them to... Oh, wait, no, I can get it. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Unleash the cast at gmail.com. Or a lot of you guys have been commenting on the YouTube videos, which is really great. Love the comments. The more comments we get, the more we will respond, the more stuff that we can let you guys write for the show. If you guys have anything cool to say, leave it in a comment on the YouTube video, and we will definitely think about being sure to maybe bring it up on the cast. Yeah.
Sounds good. And the questions will carry over to next week. Like, questions about these new cards won't be stale by the time next week, so don't hesitate to get them in after the fact.
Anything you got,
perfect time.
Throw a comment in the YouTube video, and we will address it. Probably, maybe, likely, definitely.
All right, guys. Well, I will be back for a brief after show after this, so if you're in Twitch, please do stick around. John is going to take off, and that is it for this week, episode number 24 of Unleash the Podcast. We will be back next week to talk about spoilers and nothing but spoilers, I'm sure.
Spoilers!
As they're super exciting. And, yeah, I look forward to having some new OP things to talk about, and hopefully, I want to see a new combo. I want a card that makes me think it might be the new Grim Patron. That's what I want. Show me that, Blizzard. Hopefully we get to see that soon. So, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much, and I will be right back if you are a Twitch viewer.
See ya!
Adios, amigo.
See you, buddy.